GDR's golden days come shining through.
GDR 95.7 FM.
Playing yesterday's music today.
And precious memories too.
Dear GDR listeners, this is Ian McLeod and it's our 35th birthday. We thought as part of our celebration we'd like to share with you some profiles of some of your favourite presenters. In the beginning, Golden Days Radio was first started by a gentleman by the name of Dom Yakano in a private garage in Bentley. A meeting was subsequently held at the Bentley RSL back in 1992 to officially form an incorporated association. Live broadcast followed at the Southland Shopping Centre. However, in 1994, space was made available at the Caulfield Racecourse, and in March 1994, the first regular weekend broadcast was born. In 2001, GDR was granted a full-time licence providing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In 2009, we moved from Caulfield to our present home in Glen Huntly. GDR operates entirely by 80 dedicated volunteers and now, of course, streams worldwide through goldendaysradio.com. Now here's Marilyn Martin to expose some of the hidden mysteries of some of your favourite presenters.
Looking for romance? Join Ian McLeod every Wednesday evening with Down Memory Lane, a unique selection of the finest recordings from the British big band era, complemented with romantic tunes from around the world to the inner sanctum of romance. Wednesday Night Romantics, featuring many of your favourite artists. Ian McLeod, Wednesdays from 6 o'clock on Golden Days Radio 95.7 FM.
Ian McLeod joined GDR 17 years ago as a volunteer. Curious as to where all the music came from, he thought he might assist in the record library. However, Alex Hare, the station manager, was desperate to fill a 3-session presenter gap and suggested Ian might fill in. George Rolfe gave him a crash course in presenting. Having survived that ordeal, Larry James asked him to fill in for a few Wednesday evenings while John Clark took extended leave. Ian has been filling in ever since, for the past 16 years. During his time at GDR, Ian became very much aware of what a fabulous lifeline the station is to the community. He truly believes bringing listeners pleasure through music is always special. Ian has brought many skills to GDR from his many life experiences. He was the director of the Bendigo Community Bank at the Beaumaris branch for 5 years, president of Bayside Traders for 5 years also, and a committee member of the Beaumaris Motor Yacht Squadron for 10 years. In 2018, Ian was presented with a 50-year service by Victorian Freemasonry. Ian's love of music grew while he was still at school, working as a part-time projectionist at the local Dendy Cinema. Showing all the glorious MGM musicals alongside the Marx Brothers and Disney classics was pretty special. Ian purchased his first reel-to-reel tape recorder with his pocket money at the age of 17, adding a whole new dimension to his musical interests. Ian settled on a retail career and joined the Meyer Emporium in the 1960s. On his first buying trip to the USA, a young Ian managed to visit most of the Hollywood studios and had a personal tour of the Walt Disney Organisation. His favourite memory was standing on the Mary Poppins set. While he didn't get to meet Julie Andrews then, as fate would have it, they finally met in Melbourne 50 years later during her only Australian visit. Over the years, Ian has also had the privilege of serving GDR as both Vice President and President. He was Vice President and Larry James Deputy for 8 years, and President for 5 years. Currently he serves as Carol Farman's Vice President. Ian says, "I believe that we are a special family at GDR with the music as our gear stick to drive our special presentation throughout the world. Long may it continue."
This is Chris Miller. Please join me on GDR, Golden Days Radio 95.7 FM, each Saturday afternoon from 3 till 6 p.m. for Saturday Jump. I'll be spanning the decades and jumping in with the music you love. See you Saturday at 3 p.m.
Chris Miller has always had a keen interest in music, dating back to his earliest days living in the UK, when his parents would play 78s by Billy Cotton and his band, Flanagan and Allen, Bing Crosby and others. Growing up in the 50s and early 60s, Chris watched his two older brothers fall in love with modern jazz and big band singers like Frank Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald. Chris, however, found himself drawn to rock and roll and the pop music of the day. Then came the swinging 60s, bringing with it the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Liverpool sound, Motown, which he loved, and new solo artists like Dusty Springfield and Tom Jones. It was a remarkable era when music truly changed the cultural landscape. Chris's path to radio began while volunteering with Vision Australia, where he first met Robert Anderson. Robert kindly invited him to sit in on one of his programs at GDR, and soon after that experience, Chris joined the station. He started out 3 years ago, initially working as a receptionist. Recognising his passion for music, Larry James trained Chris to be a radio presenter 2 years ago at his request. Today he happily hosts the Saturday Jump time slot on Saturday afternoons between 3 and 6 p.m. Chris truly enjoys working in radio and possesses a wide taste in music. While he is a big fan of soul and pop, especially the Beatles, he also deeply appreciates great vocalists like Mel Torme, Peggy Lee, Frank Sinatra, Sarah Vaughan, Dionne Warwick and Nat King Cole. Having started out buying 45s in his teens before moving on to albums, Chris now shares his vast personal collection on air, utilising a wide variety of CDs. On his show he plays music from across the decades, alongside tracks by lesser-known artists and overlooked albums. Chris hopes GDR listeners enjoy the journey.
Thank God it's Friday. Well, you're right about that. A week's almost gone, so why don't you join me, Kerin Greenwood, for Friday Lunchbox, 12 noon to 3 p.m. each Friday to celebrate the week that was and to get you in the right mood for the weekend ahead. We start off with Madeline at the movies, and then a feature highlights the beautiful music of days gone by. The program concludes with a spotlight each Friday on a guest performer. Friday Lunchbox, a definite winner on GDR 95.7 FM, Golden Days Radio.
Kerin Greenwood believes his volunteering history has benefited society. For 10 years he served with the marine radio station of the Australian Volunteer Coast Guard, where his role was to maintain a listening watch for vessels in Port Phillip, Western Port and Victorian coastal waters. Then, for 20 years, he volunteered with Vision Australia Radio by presenting on air and being involved in their fundraising activities. Kerin is interested in aviation matters. For 50 years he has maintained a private pilot's licence, including 17 years with a command instrument rating. He has also been associated with the Royal Victoria Aero Club for over 60 years. Kerin used to listen to Golden Days radio in his car and found the music soothing and relaxing. He enjoys a wide variety of music genres and musical artists. He collected vinyl in his teens, followed later by tapes and CDs. Robert Anderson, whom he met at Vision Australia, introduced him to Golden Days Radio. Every Friday, Kerin hosts the Friday Lunchbox between 12 and 3 p.m. He plays melodic music from the 1940s onward and highlights a selected celebrity artist in each program. He is also involved with the GDR outside broadcasting van. Kerin sees his role at Golden Days Radio as keeping the music flowing and engaging listeners by commenting on the tracks and acknowledging their calls.
Thursday evenings come alive as we reminisce with the golden age of entertainment, incorporating a special blend of easy listening, big bands, classic radio broadcasts, and including a touch of comedy plus some very special surprises. And not forgetting the MGM Musical Hour at 8. All this on Thursday's Golden Memories with Mario at 6 o'clock.
That's entertainment.
Only on Golden Days Radio, 95.7 FM.
In 1975, Mario Zanatta purchased a K-Tel LP entitled The Everlasting Memories of the 40s, which contained classic songs such as Paper Doll, Meet Me in St. Louis, In the Mood, Whispering Grass, and Rum and Coca-Cola, featuring performances by Bing Crosby, the Andrews Sisters, Glenn Miller, Judy Garland, and Ella Fitzgerald, among other legendary artists. Since then, he has developed a deep love and admiration for the music of the 1930s and beyond, collecting LPs and 78 RPM records in an ongoing search for fine nostalgic music. Mario briefly presented for Triple R in the 1980s before returning to broadcasting with Golden Days Radio in 2012. He started off as a receptionist and, like his peers, thoroughly enjoyed engaging with members and the public, listening to their interesting stories and sharing an appreciation for the outstanding entertainment the station provides. As many volunteers agree, receptionists are a vital lifeline for listeners looking for a friendly chat. Over the years, Mario transitioned into roles as a presenter and membership secretary. He also produced numerous promotional ads, station IDs, and several program series, including Stairway to the Stars, Artist of the Week, The Bing Crosby Story, Life Stories, The Golden Age of Comedy, and Community Magazine. Mario loves to share his music and specialises in genres such as easy listening, musicals, comedy, and British and American big bands. In addition to his radio work, Mario volunteers with two other groups. He has been involved with the Australian Bing Crosby Society since 1977, where he currently serves as secretary and newsletter editor, and he is also the treasurer of a local social group. Mario currently hosts a nostalgic program every Thursday evening at 6 p.m, followed by the MGN Musical Hour at 8 p.m, and is assisted by his receptionist, Tim Green. On Sunday evenings at 8 p.m, he alternates shifts with Kim Johns to bring listeners even more nostalgic recordings. As of July 2026, Mario has presented an incredible 35,076 songs across 3,101 hours and 915 programs.
As golden days come shining through.
Thanks, Marilyn and Mario, for producing those interesting insights into some of our Golden Days radio presenters. This brief tribute is part of our 35th birthday celebration and is dedicated to all our presenters, receptionists and hard-working volunteers, together with you, our listeners, without whose generous support Golden Days would cease to exist. May the music continue as we share the beautiful music of yesteryear together, making the world a happier place. I'm Ian McLeod, Vice President of GDR, hoping that you've enjoyed this program.
Golden